ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 21, Instructions by Maharaj Prithu. And we are in the first section of this chapter, text 1 to 10, that is, citizens, they are welcoming Prithu Maharaj. So today is a very auspicious day. Today is Gudi Padwa, or the new Happy New Year to everyone. And this is a day which is like one of the three and a half most auspicious days what we celebrate in Maharashtra. So many wonderful good things. At least one good thing can, always one can take sankalpa. Happy Gudi Padwa, Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you and wish you the same, Prabhuji.
So now we come to the section, text 8 to 10, where Vidura is not very satisfied with hearing this much about Prithu Maharaj, and he is requesting, I want to hear even more about Maharaj Prithu. Text 8. Suta Uvacha. Now, Suta Uvacha, yes. Original dialogue is between Suta Goswami to Shaunak Rishi. And between Suta Goswami to Shaunak Rishi, there is a conversation within that. And that conversation is Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadev Goswami. And Parikshit Maharaj is asking questions, certain questions similar was asked by, and then there is a conversation between Maitri and Vidura. So we are back at the outermost layer. Suta Uvacha तदादिराजस्य यशो विजृम्भितं गुणैरशेषैर्गुणवत्सभाजितं क्षत्ता महाभागवतः सदस्पते कौशारविं प्राह गृणन्तमर्चयन्. Translation.
Suta Goswami continued, O Shaunaka, leader of the great sages, after hearing Maitreya speak about the various activities of King Prithu, the original king, who was fully qualified, glorified, and widely praised all over the world, Vidura, the great devotee, very submissively worshipped Maitreya Rishi and asked him the following question. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So, O Shaunaka, leader of the great sages. So here he is describing Kausharavi. Kausharavi is unto Maitreya. Yeah. So look at the different beautiful words here coming up, right? So Kshatta is Vidura. Mahabhagavata, who is pure devotee, a great devotee of the Supreme Lord, Kausharavi. He spoke to Maitreya, Kausharavi, and uh, Vijrumbitam. Vijrumbitam is, oh, greatly advanced Shaunaka Rishi. Look at the culture of glorification, right? Everybody is, Suta Goswami is glorifying, oh, Shaunaka, greatly advanced personality. Vidura, the super devotee of the Lord, he submissively worshipped Kausharava, Maitreya Rishi, and asked him following question. So this is the question by Vidura. Text 9. Vidura uvacha sobhishaktah pruthurviprair labdhasheshasuraarhanah bibrata savaishnavam tejo bayoryabhyam dudohagam. Translation.
Translation Vidura said, My dear Brahmana Maitreya, it is very enlightening to understand that King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmanas. All the demigods presented him with innumerable gifts, and he also expanded his influence upon personally, receiving strength from Lord Vishnu. Thus, he greatly developed the earth. Purport. Because Prithu Maharaj was an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu and was naturally a great Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, all the demigods were pleased with him and presented different gifts to help him in exercising his royal power, and the great sages and saintly persons also joined in his coronation. Thus, blessed by them, he ruled over the earth and exploited its resources for the greatest satisfaction of the people in general. This has already been explained in the previous chapters regarding the activities of King Prithu. As will be apparent from the next verse, every executive head of state should follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Prithu in ruling over his kingdom, regardless of whether the chief executive is a king or president, or whether the government is monarchical or democratic. This process is so perfect that if it is followed, everyone will become happy, and thus it will be very easy for all to execute devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So here, Vidura said, My dear great sage Maitreya Muni, you already explained enthroning of Maharaj Prithu, demigods presenting innumerable gifts, and how he expanded his influence and in the service of Lord Vishnu, and how he greatly developed the earth and made his citizens very, very pleased and satisfied. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Prithu Maharaj is an empowered incarnation. Okay, yesterday there was a question that how Prithu Maharaj went back home back to Godhead, Parampadam. So Prithu Maharaj is Jiva Tattva, but he is empowered, right? So that's what we see that text 7, if we see translation of text 7, he at last obtained the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Look at the he, H is small h, right? Small h. Because Prithu Maharaj is Jiva Tattva. Prithu Maharaj is Jiva Tattva. He is empowered incarnation, right? Empowered to do some tremendous activity. Classic example, modern times is Srila Prabhupada, right? In 11 years, and the entire face of the earth is changed. Hare Krishna has become the household name everywhere. So he is Jiva Tattva, but empowered empowered, Shaktavesha, right? So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, Prithu Maharaj is empowered incarnation and naturally a great Vaishnava, and he ruled over the earth, and thus utilized the resources for the greatest satisfaction of people in general, while keeping the principles of Vaishnavism in center. And Prabhupada says that this is how either one is a king or president, either the government is monarchical government or a democratic government, they should follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Prithu, right? This idea that government has no religion and everything, all religions are same, and all this kind of a discussion is a very, very recent discussion, last 200 years, 300 years. So prior to that, we see even Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj receiving instructions from Tukaram Maharaj, Ramdas Swami, So the saints, even there is a description of, Peshwas and Shahu Maharaj receiving instruction from Brahmendra Swami. And, those things are actually the narrated, these are recorded history. When it is followed like that, it is very easy to execute devotional service to the Supreme Lord, and that everybody will be happy. That is the natural conclusion of devotional service. Yenatma suprasidati. Text 10. Just a minute. Yeah. Text 10. कोऽन्यस्य कीर्तिं न शृणोत्यभिज्ञो यद्विक्रमोच्छुष्टितशेषभूपः लोकाः सपाला उपजीवन्ति कामम् उद्यापि तन्मे वद कर्म शुद्धम्. Translation?
Prithu Maharaj was so great in his activities and magnanimous in his method of ruling that all the kings and demigods on the various planets still follow in his footsteps. Who is there who will not try to hear about his glorious activities? I wish to hear more and more about Prithu Maharaj because his activities are so pious and auspicious. Purport. Saint Vidura's purpose is in hearing about Prithu Maharaj over and over again was to set an example for ordinary kings and executive heads who should all be inclined to hear repeatedly about Prithu Maharaj's activities in order to also be able to rule over their kingdoms or states very faithfully for the peace and prosperity of the people in general. Unfortunately, at the present moment, no one cares to hear about Prithu Maharaj or to follow in his footsteps. Therefore, no nation in the world is either happy or progressive in the spiritual understanding, although that is the sole aim and objective of the human life.
Yeah. Prithu Maharaj, Vidura began to say, is so great in his activities and magnanimous in his method of ruling that whom will not like to hear him again and again. Now, this is from Vidura. And Vidura is the personality who is in very intense politics throughout his lifetime. Right? It is not spoken by some saintly person who is there in the forest. No. Vidura, all thick politics is, he is part of all that thick politics of Kauravas trying to destroy the Pandavas and the entire Mahabharat. Vidura is the personality from Mahabharat. And he says that who will be there who will not hear about the glorious activities of Maharaj Prithu? I wish to hear again and again. These activities are so pious and auspicious. Later, when we conclude this, Prithu Maharaj's narration, that will be chapter 23, 24, 23, there is a Falashruti. Okay. And this Falashruti is so amazing of Maharaj Prithu that anybody who studies this pastime, okay, so that one will be, really very excited to hear what the Falashruti of this is. Very amazing Falashruti of hearing the pastime of Maharaj Prithu. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that Saint Vidura's purpose in hearing Prithu Maharaj's activities over and over is to set an example for ordinary kings and executive heads. Right. So, by their own example, by his own example, Vidura is setting that I am such an intense politician, intensely part of Mahabharat politics, but I also hear about Maharaj Prithu. Prabhupada says, if this Shravanam can be done very well, actually, I mean, we have that so many shlokas are there. There are effects of Shravanam. And Prabhupada says that the world can really come to a peace and natural understanding. They will actually utilize the human form, which actually it has the purpose of spiritual understanding. So therefore, hearing about the activities of Maharaj Prithu again and again is recommended. And this is recommended for all the pastimes which are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing about these personalities again and again, what that means is daily Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. That we have to be in touch with Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Text 11. Maitreya Uvacha Ganga Yamunor Antara Kshetramavasan Arabdhaneva Bhujuvo Bhogan Punya Jihayasa. Translation.
The great saintly sage Maitreya told Vidura, my dear Vidura, King Prithu lived in the tract of land between the two great rivers, Ganges and Yamuna. Because he was very opulent, it appeared that he was enjoying his destined fortune in order to diminish the results of his past pious activities. purport. The terms pious and impious are applicable only in reference to the activities of an ordinary living being. But Maharaj Prithu was a directly empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, he was not subject to the reactions of pious or impious activities. As we have already explained previously, when a living being is specifically empowered by the Supreme Lord to act for a particular purpose, he is called a Shakti Avesh Avatara. Prithu Maharaj was not only a Shakti Avesh Avatara, but also a great devotee. A devotee is not subjected to the reactions resulting from the past deeds. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Karmani nirdhati kintu cha bhakti bhajam. For devotees, the results of past pious and impious activities are nullified by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word arabdan, eva, mean as if achieved by past deeds. But in the case of Prithu Maharaja, there was no question of reaction to past deeds. And thus the word eva is used here to indicate the comparison to ordinary persons. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Avajananti Mamuda. This means that sometimes people misunderstand an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be an ordinary man. The Supreme Godhead, his incarnations or his devotees may pose themselves as ordinary men, but they are never to be considered as such. Nor should an ordinary man, not supported by authority statements of the Shastras and Acharyas, be accepted as an incarnation or a devotee. By the evidence of Shastras, Sanatana Goswami detected Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an indirect incarnation of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although Lord Chaitanya never disclosed the fact. It is therefore generally recommended that the Acharya or Guru should not be accepted as an ordinary man. Thank you, Prabhu.
Maitreya continued. He said, my dear Vidura, Prithu, he controlled the land between the two rivers, Ganga and Yamuna. He was very opulent, and it appeared as if he is enjoying the destined fortune to diminish the results of his pious activities. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the word pious and impious are applicable to the conditioned living entity. But Maharaj Prithu is concerned, he is the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he is Shakti-Avesh avatar. Again, he is a Jiva Tattva, but very specifically empowered. And for him, there is no question of pious or impious. And it should not. What to speak of Prithu Maharaj? Even the devotees of the Lord, they also transcend the karma bandhana. And therefore, one should perform one's devotional service to the degree one's devotional service is intense. To that degree, one can transcend karma bandhana. And Prabhupada quotes Brahma Samhita here, Karmani nirdahati kintu cha bhakti bhajam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yastvendra gopa athavendra mahosva karma. That people are attaining the position from Indra Gopa. Indra Gopa is the lowest of the creature. Up to Indra, Yastvendra Gopa. From Indra to Indra Gopa, positions are attained by Swakarmana. But all this karma can be completely nirdahati if one is engaged in devotional service to Lord Vishnu. So what to speak of Prithu Maharaj, who is empowered incarnation? Prabhupada says, people misunderstand in two ways. First misunderstanding is when the Supreme Lord comes, they think he is to be ordinary person. Avajananti mamudha, manushim tanum ashrita. Especially when the Lord comes in the human-like form, there is always a chance of misunderstanding. Like next week, we are going to celebrate Ram Navami. And people think, oh, Lord Ram को भी वनवास में जाना पड़ा, राम को कुछ नहीं करना पड़ा. Whatever Lord Ram did was simply a pastime, so that we can discuss and we can become liberated. So considering Supreme Lord to be ordinary is one great offense, and another offense is considering somebody ordinary to be the Supreme. So these are two offenses, and Prabhupada says one has to be saved from these two. While one example is, that another example is Sanatana Goswami detected Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be the direct incarnation of Krishna. Right. Although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he personally never disclosed it, And therefore, it is recommended that Acharya or Guru should not be accepted as ordinary person. Correct? Gurushu naramatir Vaishnavi jati buddhi. Text 12. So now we have entered the second section of Bhagavatam, 11 to 20, where Maitreya Muni is going to describe Prithu Maharaja's rule, his bodily features, and the beautiful speech that he was famous for. सर्वत्र स्खलिता देश सप्तद्वीप एकदंडधृक् अन्यत्र ब्राह्मण कुलान्यत्र अच्युत अच्युत गोत्रतः. Translation.
Maharaj Prithu was an rival king and possessed the scepter for ruling all the 7 islands on the surface of the globe. No one could disobey his irrevocable orders but the saintly persons, the Brahmanas, and descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Vaishnavas. Purport. Saptadvipa refers to the 7 great islands or continents on the surface of the globe. 1 Asia, 2 Europe, 3 Africa, 4 North America, 5 South America, 6 Australia, and 7 Oceania. In the modern age, people are under the impression that during the Vedic period or the prehistoric ages, America and many other parts of the world had not been discovered. But that is not a fact. Prithu Maharaj ruled over the world many thousands of years before the so-called prehistoric age. And it is clearly mentioned here that in those days, not only were all the different parts of the world known, but they were ruled by one king, Maharaj Prithu. The country where Prithu Maharaj resided must have been India, because it is stated in the 11th verse of this chapter that he lived in the tract of land between the rivers Ganges and Yamuna. This tract of land, which is called Brahmavarta, consists of what is known in the modern age as portions of Punjab and northern India. It is clear that the kings of India once ruled all the world and that their culture was Vedic. The word Ashok.
Yeah, so here the mood is different later. So, Prithu Maharaj was an unrivaled king. Sarvatra Skhalita Adesha. Sarvatra, everywhere. Skhalita. Right. Skhalita, Askhalita Adesha. That his instruction was accepted everywhere. Till where? Saptadvipa Ekadandakrit. So, Saptadvipa Ekadandakrit means Ek Rajdanda of Maharaj Prithu was applicable all across the Saptadvipa. Recently, if you remember, when we moved to the new parliament, building, there was a Rajadanda was established there. What is the name of that? Single, they call it, right? I think it was Single in, the parliament. So this is called as Rajadandakrit. So what was the tract? That was all the Saptadvipa. No one could disobey his irrevocable orders, but saintly persons who are the Vaishnavas. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions that Saptadvipa refers to the 7 great islands, 7 continents: Asia, Europe, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, and Antarctica or Oceania. So sometimes people consider, America was discovered 500 years ago. This was discovered this. I mean, that's you discovered. That doesn't mean that it never existed or we never knew before. Here it is very clearly mentioned that Saptadvipa were ruled by Maharaj Prithu. And then there are many historical facts where Bhagavatam and other great literatures, they are describing very correctly how the Saptadvipa was ruled by great different personalities. And it was ruled by one king, and that is Maharaj Prithu. Nowadays, there are many people, they will quote their scriptural book, which has come sometimes 1,500 years ago, sometimes 2,000 years ago, and they will say, look at our book, and this is the land. From ocean to this, from ocean to the mountain, we are supposed to rule. If we go by Bhagavatam, thousands of years ago, it is very detailed mention that Saptadvipa were controlled by one Indian king. And Prabhupada says, where he used to live, very clear, that is the previous verse, between the river Ganga and Yamuna. And that is land called as Brahmavarta, like modern times of Punjab and northern India. So it is very clear that the kings of India ruled, once ruled the entire world, Chakravarti Samrat, and the culture of entire world was very, very Vedic. Right? Yeah, please continue.
The word Askhalita
No.
indicates that orders by the king could not be disobeyed by anyone in the entire world. Such orders, however, were never issued to control saintly persons or the descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. The Supreme Lord is known as Achyuta. The Lord Krishna is addressed as such by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Senayor Ubayor Madhe Ratham Sthapaya Mechyuta. Achyuta refers to one who does not fall because he is never influenced by the modes of material nature. When a living entity falls down to the material world, from his original position, he becomes Chuta, which means that he forgets his relationship with Achyuta. Actually, every living entity is part and parcel or a son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When influenced by the modes of material nature, a living entity forgets this relationship and thinks in terms of different spaces of life. But when he again comes to his original consciousness, he does not observe such bodily designations. This is indicated in Bhagavad Gita 5.18 by the words Panditaha Samadarshina. Material designations create differentiation in terms of caste, color, creed, nationality, etc. Different gotras or family designations are distinctions in terms of material body. But when one comes to Krishna consciousness, he immediately becomes one of the Achyuta Gotra, or descendants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus he becomes transcendental to all considerations of caste, creed, color, and nationality. Prithu Maharaj had no control over the Brahmana Kula, which refers to the learned scholars in Vedic knowledge, nor over the Vaishnavas, who are above the considerations of Vedic knowledge. It is therefore said.
Yeah, so this is the famous verse. Archi Vishnu Shiradir Guru Naramatir Vaishnave Jati Buddhir Vishnurva Vaishnavanam Kalikalamatane Padatirthem Buddhi Sri Vishnur Namni Mantre Sakala Kalushahe Shabde Samanya Buddhir Vishnu Sarveshwareshe Tada Itara Samadhira Yasyava Narakisaha.
One who thinks the deity in the temple to be made of wood or stone, who thinks of the spiritual master in the disciplic succession as an ordinary man, who thinks the Vaishnava in the Achyuta Gotra to belong to a certain caste or creed, or who thinks of Charnamrita or Ganges water as ordinary water taken to be a resident of hell, Padma Purana. From the facts presented in this verse, it appears that people in general should be controlled by a king until they come to the platform of Vaishnavas or Brahmanas, who are not under the control of anyone. Brahmana refers to one who knows Brahman, or the impersonal feature of the absolute truth, and a Vaishnava is one who serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Further, Srila Prabhupada mentions that Askhalita means the orders were to be followed by everyone except those from Achyuta Gotra. So, Achyuta means the Supreme Lord who is never falls down, and Achyuta is also referred to the living entity when they are engaged in their eternal service, their eternal occupation. Because they forget the Achyuta, service to Achyuta, they become Chuta. That means they have forgotten their relationship with the Supreme Lord. And then Prabhupada describes that how every living entity has a particular relationship, and because he has forgotten that relationship, he has acquired different bodily forms and thinking paropi manute anartham, and thinking in the different species of life. But when one comes to knowledge, he will be panditaha samadarshana. Right. So there are many material designations, there are material differentiations, but when one surrenders to the Supreme Lord, Achyuta, he becomes part of Achyuta Gotra. So there were many foreigner devotees and they were sitting for yajna, and the priest asked them, what is your Gotra? And Prabhupada says, if you don't know your Gotra, as a devotee, our Gotra is same, our Gotra is Achyuta Gotra. So devotees are referred as descendants of Lord Vishnu, who are Vaishnavas. They are called as Achyuta Gotra. So this is the reference, right? Prithu Maharaj had no control over the Brahmana Kula, or specifically Vaishnavas. And then Prabhupada mentions that how Vaishnavas may externally look like the ordinary human beings, but they are beyond control of the king or the jurisdiction of Nyaya. Why Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Bhunje Navig? That one cannot really understand the activities of a Vaishnava. And here Vaishnava means the pure devotee of the Lord. Okay. So, and then there is, Prabhupada mentions a verse from Padma Puran, how the deity, spiritual master, Vaishnava and Charanamrit, they look very ordinary sometimes, but they have much higher spiritual significance. Arche Vishnu Sheeladir. Vishnu, it is not just a Sheela, it is the Supreme Lord, Pratima Nahitumi, Sakshat Vrajendra Nandan. Similarly, Guru Shunaramatir. Guru may look like a ordinary human being, but he is the Sarvadevo Mayo Guru, right? And similarly, Vaishnava Jati Buddhi. Vaishnava should never be considered according to his jati. And similarly, the Charanamrit, which may look like water, but it is extremely powerful, like Ganga. So this is the Brahmana Kula and Vaishnava Kula that was beyond. And Prabhupada gives a very beautiful definition of who is a Brahmana and who is a Vaishnava. Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. One who knows the Brahman is called as Brahman, is called as Brahmana. But one who serves the ultimate Bhagavan, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdate. So, but who serves the Bhagavan is called as Vaishnava. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Prabhupada. Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Prabhupada, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Prabhuji, एक प्रश्न होता
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
तो प्रश्न ऐसा है, when there is a situation, we always go and help others, whether it be friends, family, colleague, whoever it may be. Okay? But when it comes to us, people turn down, right? And when I say when we require help, people turn down, right? So in that situation, and the same person requires our help next time, how the what I mean to say, मन नहीं करता है help करने का, right? So how to handle the situation?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a big topic. One classic understanding to this is, what they call it is that good intention is pathway to hell. Okay. So many times, we have something always good in our mind, and I know, I have very intense experience of this one devotee, always thinking good about somebody, thinking more than what the person required, and later the person he was thinking good about, they are only coming back to him and saying that आपको किसने बोला था हमारे बारे में सोचने के लिए, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So so the point is here is that we have to understand our first duty, first responsibility. We have to help everyone, yes, as much as we can. But the point is, what is the point if your means our children are looking for our time and we are unconditionally available to the entire world except our family,
Correct.
right? So one has to prioritize that help. Second thing is that help is given only when asked for, most of the time.
Correct. Correct.
Asked for is a very gentle way of saying. Actual, it is when it is begged for. Then only there is value. Okay.
Yes.
So otherwise, people have their own understanding. People have their own plans. People have, their own life to live. And because people have their own life to live, that's why there is a variety in the life, right? If everybody start thinking like me or my version of what is good for somebody, then then we are not some Lord Brahma or something like that. So third thing is, sometimes I'm not talking about you, but in general, the overly helping nature also could mean that we are exaggerating oneself too much.
Correct.
We sometimes we may think that I am great, I know a big thing, I know too much kind of a thing, and that may come out just like Prabhupada says extended sense gratification. That may come out like that, extended sense gratification, thinking that people are coming, people are asking me my opinion, people are they are following my path, that kind of puja labha pratishtha. And last thing is that whenever we help, the help should be done in a way which is like one should not expect something in return. That is called a sattva guna help. If we are helping somebody thinking that he will also help me in my downtime, then that is rajoguna help.
Yeah.
So when we take a sum total of all this, then we can actually offer a good real help. Sometimes we want to offer a help, but people are not ready for help, and because our help is already preempted by our giving that suggestion, when they need that suggestion, then they will not appreciate it, neither they will approach us also, because they already know what we want to say. That may be the correct thing, and it is already being discounted, they being not in the frame of mind of acceptance. So Radhesham Prabhu puts it very nicely. He says that one should hear in such a way that people will be able to speak to us, and one should speak in such a way that people will also hear us. Right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you for explaining.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna
Gudi
Prabhu.
Padwacha हार्दिक शुभेच्छा.
Hari Hari. Happy Gudi Padwa.
Today is
Krishna.
Puja
Hare
also.
Krishna Prabhuji, I wanted to ask one question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Like what you said right now about about while answering the current question. So is it applicable, you are saying, for like people who are very closely related to us, like family members or very close friends? In that also, these principles what you said applied, or like we have to be very careful? Obviously, we have to be careful while dealing with them, but not helping, because sometimes we give suggestions, we help them because that is the need.
So whenever we have this thing, should always add a point that we think they need our suggestion, we think they need our help, and of course, if it is the dependents, and when we are responsible for the dependents, then one has to go out and tell them in a very pleasing way. Then how to speak, there are certain rules around that, right?
Mhm.
At the same
Yes.
time, I find myself that I had a time where I was like obsessed with helping people. Oh, it's obsession. I mean, you just can't feel satisfied unless I help some 10 people and give 20 suggestions. So that time I have to introspect myself and think that, first thing, am I doing my part very well? Generally, what happens is that, when we are in a too much of a helping spree, we may end up not doing our own dharma very well. You are getting this point.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So this may happen, and we are helping everybody's studies, and we ourselves are failing in our own exams. That is one thing. Second thing is that if I may be doing my current dharma very well, second is, am I planning my own growth, both spiritual and material, in a way that is being appreciated? So previously, at least what was the thing is that previously content, or the seniors used to act as the knowledge keeper. They had the knowledge with them, or kind of a thing. Now with advent of internet, and now the recent advent of AI and everything, even that knowledge keeper aspect is also gone. All knowledge is available to everyone. It's like you go to Gemini and type there, teach me Python or teach me Java step by step. They will teach you Java step by step in next 21 days. So that aspect of knowledge keeper has gone. So now more the transformation will happen, or the change will happen in people. The help will be received only by one's the good relationship and one's good qualities.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right. So whenever we want to help somebody, the first thing is that we should have a very cordial relation, so that they feel free, unthreatened. At the time of help, they can very freely come and ask us.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So so that kind of relationship we have to maintain with people, and be available when they want, but we cannot decide when they want. Classic example is Bhagavad Gita. It is Bhagavad Gita, but entire first chapter, Krishna is mouth shut, no words. Finally, when Arjuna surrenders, Shishyasteham Shadi Mam Tvam Prapannam, then Krishna begins, And then he gives entire Bhagavad Gita. Right? In the first chapter, there is no question of Krishna speaking anything. Arjuna is reasoning. So this is an example, and not that every example need to be applied as it is. But the indication is that people, when they are open, then only there is some value to what help we want to give. Otherwise, people have their own thought process. People have their, and sometimes they are right also. Right?
Yes.
Sometimes, sometimes they may be right also in what they are doing, and we may be wrong, or we may be limited. Our experience may be limited experience. Right?
Yes. Actually, this what answer you gave was like covering many aspects and perspective. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. This all comes from Radhesham Prabhu and senior devotees. Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Attention to this.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu.